I'm late. Welcome, everybody, to Martinis with Scott. Welcome. I apologize for being late. See if we can maybe trying to block off that light in the back for you. Yeah, I was in court. I was on the witness stand today as a chief restructuring officer on a file. It took much longer than it should have taken, so I apologize for being late. And yeah, let's get at it. So I want to talk about professionals today, opposing professionals, because in virtual court, and I saw about 20 lawyers on there. I was estimating the cost to my client of this process at about $10,000 an hour. And you wonder why restructurings in court are so expensive. Just nuts. Anyways, you're in the middle of a restructuring. You're in the middle of a deal. You're trying to turn a company around. You're trying to make your business better, and you need the support of your stakeholders. And you go to your bank or your supplier or your customer and you say, I need this from you. Here's what I'm trying to do. And you make your pitch, right? You spend a bunch of time and money. You've written it out. You've done your models like I've advised you to on Martinis with Scott. You've done your rolling monthly model, your cash flow. You've written everything out, and you go to your stakeholder. What do they do? What do they do when you receive that information? They say, thank you so much. Let me take this under consideration. And then they go to their lawyer and they go to their accountant and they look at your proposal. By the way, your proposal, what does a proposal boil down to? If you're in trouble and you're talking to your bank, what could you negotiate on? You can negotiate on the amount that I'm going to pay you. I owe you $1 million. I'm going to pay you $1 million. Or I'm going to pay you less than $1 million, right? Or I'm going to pay you $1 million without interest. You can negotiate on amount, and then you can negotiate on time. What does time mean? I can't pay you today, but I can pay you over 3 years. Here's the business plan that supports this kind of, I have a habit of fixing my hair on live. That's terrible. I can pay you $1 million, but it needs to be over this period of time, or both of those things. I need to negotiate both on the amount and on the time. And the third thing you negotiate on is the types of controls that you have until that person is paid out in full. Same with every stakeholder. In every negotiation, you're basically talking about restructuring. You're talking about amount, time, and controls. And that's it. So you make your pitch to your stakeholder on the amount, the timing, the controls. The stakeholder, either throws you out of the room, or if they're going to consider it, if they're a professional group, they're going to go back, particularly a bank, right? They're going to go back and they're going to say, thank you very much. And then they're going to send that proposal to their professional advisors. And they're going to say, and that being a lawyer and an accountant, and then they're going to have a meeting and they're going to discuss your proposal. What do you think the professional advisor, being the lawyer or the accountant, what are they going to tell that stakeholder about your proposal? And you would say to me, Scott, how the hell am I going to know that? It's their advisor. I don't know what they're going to say. I thought it was a good pitch. I think they're going to agree to it. And the answer is that you can know. You can know exactly what that professional advisor is going to say, and you should know exactly what they're going to say and what their advice is going to be. And what their advice is going to be is the particular course of action that is most conservative and risk-free to the professional, not to their client, not to you, but to the professional. That does not mean they lack integrity. It doesn't mean they're saying the right thing. But what it means is, why would they ever go out on a limb? Where is the profit to the professional in going out on the limb? I always think about the way people evaluate things in terms of profit and loss. Should I do this? What's the profit? What's the loss, right? What's the upside? What's the opportunity? What's the risk? What's the profit? What's the loss? What is the profit to a professional of saying of a lawyer to a bank or a financial advisor, monitor, receiver? What is the professional? What is the profit to telling the bank client, seems like a really good plan, maybe we should give them some time? Do you think they ever say that? Not very often. Not very often. What is the loss to them of saying, you don't trust these people, they've never performed before, they've put you in this bad position, we should just liquidate them? What is the loss to the professional of saying that? No loss. No loss, right? That's not going to come back to haunt them, because how can you ever prove? If you liquidate the company, how can you ever prove that you shouldn't have liquidated the company? You can't ever prove that. If you give management a chance, how could you prove that you shouldn't have given management a chance? That's pretty easy to prove, right? And that's how professionals think about things. They don't do it on purpose, okay? It's not because they're bad people. It's because you're conditioned to train that way. That is professional thinking, okay? Now, if you get a great advisor, I've had David Cohen on this show before, Gowling WLG. He, in particular, the reason I like working with him, and he's a counsel for me on a couple of files and a great friend. I love talking to David because he's creative, right? And what do I mean by creative is he's willing to listen to the argument. He's willing to tell his clients, okay, maybe we should try this and put these controls around it, but I'm willing to go out on a limb for my client. Okay, he doesn't say it in those words, but David is willing to go out on a limb for his client and take a real risk. Okay, professionally speaking, there is no risk to saying, don't trust these guys, tank the company. Okay, there's no risk to your supplier. Your supplier has, an advisor to your supplier has no risk saying, don't extend them credit. Don't do it, right? Just make them pay everything up front. There's no risk to a lawyer of telling their client who might be a supplier of yours to do that. The risk is to say, extend these people more credit. You need to understand that. Okay, I'm going to tell you how powerful this is. I've been working on a restructuring of. I won't drop names in this particular case, but I'm working on a restructuring, many of them as we think, but one in particular I can think of. And I've been calling around the suppliers, and I'm saying, what's going on? I had a call to China this morning before I was in court, and I've said to these people, here's what I need to these suppliers. Here's what I need for you to support me. And you're not going to get paid from this company, but I will personally pay you out of my pocket. I will pay you out of my pocket. In some instances, I have already paid them out of my pocket. And here's what I need for you to do. I need you to say yes. I need you to reply to my email and say yes. And they sent my email not once, like a bunch of times, to their counsel. And you know what their lawyer said? Their lawyer said, no, don't take his money. Don't do it. It was zero risk to them, but they're so conditioned to saying no to a request that they've decided they'd rather take 10 cents on the dollar, pay them 100 cents on the dollar. That's how powerful this professional, what's the word that I'm looking for? Just the way that professionals think about things. That's how powerful this is. What can you do about it? Okay, you need to, if you're making a presentation to stakeholders in a turnaround, in a restructuring, you need to know that you're going to get that resistance. Okay. By the way, they resist behind the scenes. What if you're on an all hands on deck call with them? What if you're on all everybody comes to Jesus? As they say, you're on a virtual call, you're in a meeting room with a whole bunch of people. What's the profit to the lawyer for the bank or the lawyer for the supplier starting a fight and disagreeing with you in that meeting? No profit. You know why? Because they don't want to be shut down from their client. They don't want to raise a bunch of questions and have a fight with you and you beat them. They lose. No point in doing that. Best just to nod your head, ask some pointed questions, but how are you going to do this? You haven't done it before. How are you going to do it now? Get the answers and then go back and slam you behind the scenes. Okay? Guaranteed, that's what most professionals do, and it's not an absolute, but you need to assume that that's what happens. So, best to have, even with that constraint, best to have everybody in a room or everybody on a Zoom call or everybody on a whatever the Microsoft version is, and get it in front, like, divide and conquer. Well, this is bring them all together and conquer. So you need to try and do that. You need to know what's going to happen behind the scenes, and to mitigate it, here's what you really need to do. You need to make this a binary choice. You need to make it A, B, profit, loss, okay? What does that mean? It's easy for the lawyer, the professional, it's easy for the accountant to say to the bank or the supplier, oh, don't trust these people. Don't do that deal, right? But they haven't answered the other side of the equation. I mean, if you don't trust the people, you don't do the deal, then what, right? The lawyer never tells you that. The lawyer just says liquidate the thing, right? So what you need to do if you're making the pitch is you need to say, here's what I want you to do. Here's the risks. Here's all the problems we have. You need to build credibility when you're doing it, right? Because the biggest part of persuasion is getting attention, which you have because you owe them money, and then building trust. So you got to get there, be credible. You got to make the pitch, but you need to make the negative pitch as well. Okay, you need to give them the AB, the profit loss. If we don't do this turnaround, we're in liquidation. I just don't see how this works out for you, right? I don't see it. Here's my math on that. What do you think? What's your math about that? Let's have a discussion about the negative, okay? So that it's not just some sort of, I don't trust this, and there's this big shiny bauble over here. You need to make that bauble not very shiny, with the truth, but don't let the bias and the risk mitigation of the professionals get you in trouble. That's it. Martinis with Scott on Monday, February 8th. Thanks for the coming in and the daily touch base. Sorry I was late today. Couldn't get out of court. Actually, I could have put it on mute and talked to you, but then my computer was restarting at the same time. Oh well. Talk to you later. Bye.